All right, hi folks. So Mike Stinnett here, Office for Truth program. So again, as you saw in this next video, it's talking about Jay PATHAK and Vineyard USA. He's the president of over 500 churches. He runs Mile High Vineyard somewhere in the Denver area. And so we're going to be discussing him. And again, I just did my last video of John Mark Comer, more Applegate folks. Well, now here we have Jay PATHAK. He must know Mr. Comer, been doing stuff with him, because next month Jay PATHAK and John Mark Comer and Christy Kane and Peter Grieg, they're all in another one of John Mark's videos that you can see on YouTube. They're all going to this, other people too, but they're going to this speaking conference at the I don't know, some exponential conference, looks like Orlando, in March. So a lot of connections. So like I said, I found out about Mr. Comer, and then I made the video, know him from Applegate, all that stuff. Applegate folks, bunch of Applegate people there, his wife, his family, his wife's family, leadership folks. So I found out that Pastor PATHAK was going to go there. I don't know him. I didn't know he's the president right off the bat. So of course, he was going to do this conference a couple weeks ago with him now. I guess maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks ago now. And so I reached out to his church. I said, like I do everywhere else, like the videos, but on emails, I go, do you know about Mr. Comer, all these things, him and his families, wife's family, his leadership's families, him, all those folks were part of all these cover-ups and you know, the whole story I'm sharing online about Applegate folks. Remember, I don't know anything about Vineyard. I don't know anything about Vineyard. I'm not a part of Vineyard, or, you know. And so I reached out to him thinking, don't you want to know, in time before he was going to go. Now, I get it. He was scheduled to go, and money was being spent and all this. But I told him on Monday, so the Monday before. So I guess heading to almost 3 weeks now by Monday. Well, as you'll see on this video, that they got my email, his leadership team. A gentleman got it, sent me something, and then another one, a lady, sent it, and you'll see their names on there. And they got it. Well, what happens? You don't hear nothing. He just goes to the conference. You haven't heard anything since. I've been calling the people in Sugar Land, Texas, the Vineyard USA kind of like corporate office. I've called some vineyards across the country, left messages. I'm just trying to get the information out. And so about Mr. PATHAK, what Mr. PATHAK likes is now that he's the president, he has a successful church, campuses kind of in that Denver area. But the thing he likes the most is he's on this speaking circuit. As you understand, some of these people get to go to these conferences, they get to go speak, they get invites. It's a way to push their stuff, their books, their ministry, but to get attention because they're all having fun, right? So what he would say, like John Mark Comer, because my video up there now is, we're heading to 300 views. Remember, this is Christian YouTube stuff. I'm not getting 10 million views. This is Christian stuff, but it's pretty soon it's going to get up there and get up there and get up there. My YouTube channel is growing. All the lights are green, all the arrows are green, pointing up. So it's just out there now. So now this video is going to be out there of this gentleman because he just didn't care. I want to be left alone, he says. Don't talk to me. I don't want to do anything. I want to hang out. Because remember, if he says something about him, then he's going to be kicked out of the little circuit. He can go back to his church. Vineyard isn't going to say, hey, just generically speaking, what are you doing? He just gets out of the speaking circuit of all of his buddies that he has, the Christy Kanes, and she's got that massive speaking. You know, Christy Kane's over there with John Mark Comer too. Yeah, I got a video coming up with her. How about Tim Mackie, the Bible Project? He's over there, John Mark Comer too, and Applegate folks. Crazy. It's crazy. You know, and so, but we're talking about Jay PATHAK here. And on the video says the child predator cover-up. Yep. Because you have all the land fraud issues that Applegate did, John Mark Comer's family, his wife's family, his elder's family, and such. But then after that, as I've said, you had the youth pastor, Kelly Rasmussen, that they all know, they've all known for years, when he got popped up in some other place for being a child predator, one of those online stings. Well, how come nobody said to ask the 50 questions of Applegate? As I'm making this video, which will be posted sometime when it's done, so you'll get today, nobody's said a single question. So how many people did he harm there? It's a cover-up. You know, they have the media in their back pocket in Southern Oregon, and we just lost the newspaper. The newspaper in Southern Oregon just went away. It's just down to the television stations. I mean, I've called them 1,000 times. And so, in this particular, that's why it's distressing and ugly for Mr. PATHAK too. He doesn't want to expose any of this himself. He doesn't want to ask any of the questions or be asked questions. But see, from this point forward, he's going to be linked to John Mark Comer and this child predator cover-up of Kelly Rasmussen, what Applegate did, the fraud issues, the Ben Corson, the son, John Ben Corson, beating the rape charge. He's online now, crying like a little baby about how he's being bullied and picked on. You know what's going to happen to him? He's simply going to be asked as time goes by all about his father and grandfather. And nobody's going to ask about his mental state, or is he being bullied, or is he being targeted. He's a little creep like them. And all he did was take everything he could get. Next time I guess he picked on the wrong lady to try to sexually assault because she complained, and that's how he got out here today. It was his fault. He could have just kept playing his little game and bringing women over there in the middle of the night, but it didn't work out for him, right? Obviously, he's going to go south as Christians if you're trying to engage in stuff that, I mean, it's never going to work for us. So, and one little more thing on this particular thing with Jay PATHAK and the cover-up he's now in part of. And I'm going to be doing videos on the Bible Project and Tim Mackie and Christy Kane coming up. They're all the same folks. They're all going to answer for what the Applegate people are doing because they're around Applegate folks. So now they're going to become Applegate people. Christy Kane, remember, was all that big. She loved Hillsong, Brian Houston. She couldn't get enough of him. And he's just now still going through that trial about covering up for his father was a child rapist, pedophile. Nobody cares. You know, Brian Houston says, well, he was a monster, I agree, but I didn't think I did anything wrong not saying anything. Well, all right. So, but here comes Julie Roy. I've been doing this. She's been stealing my stuff for a year and a half. I've been giving her information. She's been putting it on her live. All the stuff about Applegates came from me. That's not a journalism thing you do. You don't take people's stuff and then don't give people credit. Because if she gave credit, then people would come to my website and see what I'm talking about Applegate. But she's just been stealing my stuff, Julie Roy's has. And I just got an email again. This is just another example. She tried to say before to other people, one of my subscribers, I didn't get anything from him. Well, then how did you get this email? I used the same contact method. So this email you see here, she's asking me about Jay PATHAK and my sources. This is a year and a half into it. She's asking me about my sources. And I'm thinking, my sources, the same as yours, they're Applegate Christian Fellowship folks. But what she's trying to do is she's trying to figure out who's talking, because something bothers her about it, because she didn't respond to any of the other things. But you mentioned Jay PATHAK and 500 Vineyard churches and the president. She perks up and goes, well, what's going on with him? I already told her in the email, of course. But she's trying to figure out names so she can go back and so they can do something to people they think are running their mouths. You're stupid. There's nobody running their mouth. They're just all over with the Applegate folks that I'm trying to expose that you did 4 or 5 things at, but didn't tell anybody anything. You just took my stuff, but you didn't even give me credit for the stuff. Like, that's not what you do in journalism. I'm doing my own journalism investigating. I'm doing my own stuff. I put in my own time too. You don't take people's stuff. And so that's one of the things you're running into is it's hard to get, it's hard to have, it's just these cover-ups around this particular group of people. So Jay PATHAK thinks he's going to mind his own business. I'm going to just do what I want to do. I'm not going to say nothing. Yeah, you are. Yep. Because every single vineyard now is going to be asking you, what are you doing over these people? What is this? What's the child? Who's the child predator you're covering up for? Who are these Applegate folks? You know, and he's going to have to explain. And just like Christy Kane will have to explain, and Tim Mackie and the Bible Project folks will have to explain, because they just running over to him. See, this is what's funny about some of you. Some of you would have this idea that these are like sophisticated people. Like these are the people in the church and they're orators and they're sophisticates and they're great preachers and these are the in people. And yet, from my perspective, they're all over there with Applegate folks. Yet they do the Bible Project over here. She's speaking in large crowds of people, yet they're over there with Applegate people. And I don't get it. So it ain't going to work out to them. It isn't going to work out for them too well. But this video is just about Jay PATHAK and the Vineyard USA Church, and he's president of 500 churches.